All right, I am back to talk a little bit more about Florida versus Boileau. This is the case where a deputy, now former deputy, shot his girlfriend, killing her in his home last year during I don't know what you want to call it, firearm cleaning at 10 o'clock at night or a firearm training lesson again at 10 o'clock at night while the victim was naked, whatever you want to call it. He said a couple different things, but I wanted to share today his testimony. He took the stand today. Also, spoiler alert, we already have the verdict. It took the jury an hour and a half to reach their verdict. I'll tell you what that is at the end. You can probably guess what it is, though. So, defendant testifies today. It really couldn't have gone worse, I don't think. First off, they asked him, or his attorney asked him, about the problems he's been having and how he's lost weight since this tragic incident. And because somebody's dead. So sorry you lost a few lbs because you're stressed, because you killed someone, because that person's dead. So no sympathy there. Then we discuss the margarita night. So they went out to a Mexican restaurant. It was 2 for 1 margs. So they had to guzzle them, of course, which is fine. Drink. I don't care. 2 for 1. Save money. Now you're being fiscally responsible. Amazing. However, he kind of made a joke out of the strength of the cocktails. He kind of said, oh, it just kind of tasted like sour mix, whatever. Haha. Except, so they left the restaurant at 8:30. They were there 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. The killing happens at like 10:30. Her autopsy showed her blood alcohol was 0.046. So 0.08 is the legal driving limit. So all that time later, she was 0.046. Now, that's not to say what his blood alcohol was, but he did not contradict that they each had 3. And he has said that before, that they each had 3. Also, what did they do after this 2-for-1 marg sesh? Drove home. He drove home right after his 3 margs in an hour. So was he over 0.08 at that time? Probably. I mean, we don't know. He didn't have an accident, but it just shows poor judgment. It just shows poor judgment. But now we're going to get to the kicker of his testimony. His attorney asked him if something could be different, what would it be? If he has had time to reflect and determine what went wrong, what would he do differently? Here's some things he could have said. He could have said, not messing around with weapons after drinking alcohol. He could have said that. He could have said, not following the 4 basic rules of firearm safety. He could have said that. He could have said, not training my girlfriend at 10:30 at night when she apparently, allegedly, suddenly was dying to have firearm training. He could have said, yeah, shouldn't have done that. He didn't say any of those things, you guys. You know what he said? Sitting across from each other. That was bad. We shouldn't have sat across from each other. Bro, that's what you chose. That is the one thing that you think went wrong in all of this. The one thing that would have fixed it all. Well, if we hadn't sat across from each other. I mean, I don't I don't even know what to say to that. I don't. So that was really the highlight of his testimony. He did go through kind of explaining his whole putting his rifle back together and doing a test on it to make sure it was put back together. He did that all wrong. He's explaining it. And the first like step in that process for normal people is unload the weapon. Unload the weapon. And then step two is visually inspect the chamber to make sure that the weapon is unloaded. So he failed both of those because the weapon was in fact loaded and did in fact fire an actual projectile into his girlfriend. So, yeah, bad all the way around. His function test did not function because he didn't even follow the proper steps to do the function test. So that was his testimony. Prosecution was in and out very cleanly, very quickly, basically just hitting the elements of the crime because he didn't have to have intent to be found guilty of manslaughter. He just had to do something dumb, extra dumb, that killed her. And he did. He did like 5 extra dumb things that caused her death. So, hour and a half, jury's gone, come back. I know this is going to be a surprise. Just sit down, put your seatbelt on. Guilty, guilty as charged. Of course, because he did it. He admitted that he did it. So now it will go to sentencing, and I believe he can be sentenced up to 30 years. Normally for manslaughter in Florida, I think it's 15, but because of the firearm use, that changes things. So I think it's 30 years maximum. I don't think he's going to get the maximum. I hope he doesn't get probation or, a year or two. I hope this guy serves some serious time because he's a dum-dum and what he did was ridiculous. And yes, we all make mistakes and we all do dumb things sometimes. However, most of us don't point a loaded firearm at someone and pull the trigger and shoot them right between the eyes, right between the eyes. So whether it was really truly an accident, whether he had ulterior motivations going on in his head, we will never know. But he was found guilty of manslaughter. His sentencing is in November, so they'll do some pre-sentencing reports, whatnot, and then both sides will present their case for what they believe should be his sentence. I'm sure the defense is going to say probation because he's an upstanding guy who's lost weight, so tragic situation there. Prosecution will probably ask for the max or something near it. What do you think is fair? I want to know what you think this guy should serve, if at all. Do you think he should get probation? I don't. I'm thinking, let's split it and be happy. Let's go somewhere in the 10 to 15 range because yes, he has no criminal background as far as we know. Seems like a okay guy who just does really dumb stuff. But this was a big dumb thing. So he needs to pay for that. He took away a life. But I want to know what you think. What should his sentence be? Hopefully, by the time we get there, he will take a little bit of accountability, maybe actually say, I'm really sorry. Yes, this was my fault and I did it, because he did not say that really on the stand today. I mean, he did in response to the prosecutor's questions. Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you pull the trigger? Yes, yes, yes. So he admitted it in that regard. But I would like to hear a genuine, heartfelt apology from this man, because this young lady's family has to be devastated. She was 25. She had great aspirations for her future, and now that's gone. So I hope that he can finally reflect on that. And instead of blaming her by saying, well, she just kept wanting me to show her how to do this, and she wanted me, and I didn't think it was a good idea, but she kept insisting. Bro, no, now is the time for you to be humble and apologetic and take responsibility. What do you think should be his sentence? And do you agree with the verdict? Tell me below. Bye.